Hey you guys, welcome back to the official Thompson Resume Writing Company YouTube channel. I am Mika Thompson. I'm the owner and resume writer at Thompson Resume Writing Company. And for this video, you guys see the wine glass in my hand. So you already know it is going to be a wind down / career chats video with me where I share a crazy career story or experience that has happened to me that you would not believe. For this video in particular, I'm going to be sharing about that one time that I found out that I was about to get fired as I was already searching for a new job on Indeed. Child, they had decided they was over me and I had already been decided that I was over them. Imagine my surprise when I came across my own job description. Let's go ahead and sip and chat all about it. So I have to start off by saying this. There were so many red flags with this job that I missed, and in hindsight, I wish that I didn't, because I would have spared myself and saved myself a lot of drama and a lot of stress. And I did record a video on this, on how to avoid toxic workplaces 101. The first major red flag that I noticed is that they were super unorganized. So unorganized and disorganized to the point where when I started, the day that I started, they not only forgot that they had hired me. So I showed up with my stuff. I'm ready for my first day at work. Bright-eyed, bushy tails, had on my heels, had on a cute little suit, outfit, get up. And they completely forgot that they had hired me. It took the executive assistant about an hour to even get clearance to let me in the building because they had completely forgotten that they had hired me altogether. And as a result, for the first 2.5 to 3 weeks that I was working at this place, I didn't even have an official seat. So my first day was just complete chaos. I'll even say my first 2 weeks were chaos. So you know how you show up to your first day of work and you get your seating arrangement, you get your badge, you do your HR paperwork, like all that typical first day stuff that's typically super easy, and it's sometimes is the best day of the job. Yeah, no, my first 2 weeks was absolute chaos, and that should have been the number one sign. Number two, as far as a red flag, as I would say, I found out that the job included more travel than they initially let on. So at that point in my career, I wasn't really looking to travel a lot. I was open to about 25% of travel. But the job was like 60% travel, plus weekends and even some holidays. And I did not know that until I accepted the job. And they were all like, oh, hey, yeah, we'll see you at the event on July 4th. And I'm just like, but July 4th is a holiday. And they're like, yeah, we have an event. And I'm like, oh, okay, so y'all just gonna lie to me like that? Another sign was, apparently, I didn't find this out until after the fact, was my position that I took they had already cycled through like 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 people before me. And I didn't find this out until afterwards. I thought that it was only one or two people before me, and they had advanced to other positions like externally. I didn't get the real tea until I was in the position for maybe 4 or 5 months, and by then I had already started to see why that turnover rate in that position had been so high. Now, I want to say around the 4-month, 5-month mark was when I was really, at that point, starting to get really fed up. There were 2 major incidents that happened. One was I had presented a new idea to leadership, and I needed the team or the support staff, the admin staff, to get on board with it to really help me flesh it out. There was one woman in particular who, for whatever reason, just did not like me. Like the day I started, I felt like she was gunning for me. And I think it was because I was coming in with a bunch of new ideas, and they were already kind of set in their ways and set in their flow, and what they were doing was already working. So why bring in, why start doing all this new and all this extra stuff? Because I believe in her mind, she believed it to make it look like I was trying to have them do more work, which wasn't the case. I was just trying to do my job, okay? Introduce new ideas, get these leads coming in, get these appointments booked, get this foot traffic. That was literally all I was trying to do. But I presented the idea to leadership, and she was kind of like the head of all of the different managers. So I guess she was like the team manager, and she refused to get the team managers on board to help me. So the idea that I presented, I actually had to do the whole thing all by myself. And when I brought it up to my boss, she didn't face any, like, you know, repercussions or consequences or stern talking to or anything like that. It's like this new girl is coming in and she's presenting these new ideas. This one person is not helping me. She's kind of let me sink, or she tried to let me sink, but I ended up floating all on my own. Like, she's not being a team player. Boss, can you do something about this? She didn't get talked to or nothing like that. And then after I left, I realized it was because there was like, everybody was like best friends behind the scenes, and I think her husband was like one of his golfing buddies. Like, it was a whole bunch of mess behind the scenes. So that was one incident in particular that I realized, okay, I'm in the minority here. I'm not going to be giving the tools nor the support that I need to be successful. The second incident that happened was in a very, I'll say heated, a very heated team meeting where we were reviewing like advertising options. I think we were working with an agency and they had presented 2 to 3 different options for us to choose from for a social media ad. And based off of my expertise and my experience, because they brought me in to do marketing, so silly me, you know, doing my actual job. Not saying that nobody else on the team was supposed to have a say so, but it's like, if I'm the marketing person and I am in charge of marketing, I feel like I should have been trusted to make that decision without, you know, cackle from the peanut gallery. But I digress. So we had a heated team meeting because that team manager, that same one who kind of let me sink, did not like the option that I chose, and she made it her mission to adamantly fight the decision that I made, and she ended up getting her way. It was kind of like, oh no, we're gonna go with, you know, what so and so says. Thanks to Mika, but you know, we're gonna go ahead and go with so and so what so and so says. And I'm like, why are y'all sitting here going with her decision? She's not the marketing person. This ad does not like reflect our demographic. It's the wrong color scheme. The branding is off. Like, all of my marketing logic, right? And at that point I was like, you know what? This is it. Like, at that point I had pretty much had it. And then, oh, you know what? There was one more incident that happened. There was a mistake that was made on a brochure that was printed. Now, I will admit that it was an oversight on my part, but I did send it to my boss and the printer before it was officially printed. So even if I missed it, I kind of felt like, okay, well, why did no one else catch this? My boss's boss came in after he saw the brochure, the mistake on the brochure. And mind you, the mistake, just to be clear, the mistake was a watermark, y'all. It was an Adobe stock image that still had the Adobe stock watermark on it. So it wasn't anything crazy. He came in and went off on me. Like, he legit cursed me out. And I think I was so in shock. And I was shaken up because I've never had like a grown man. And this man was like 6'2", 6'3". He was a big guy, big white guy. And he just went off on me. And I went to my car and I sat in my car for about 20 minutes. I didn't cry or anything, but I feel like I was just in shock. Like, I can't believe he just talked to me like that. And when I say yell, y'all, I mean he yelled at me. And it was at that point that I was like, you know what? It's time for me to go. The benefits were trash anyway. Oh my gosh, the benefits at that job was terrible. Health insurance was like through the freaking roof. And I only planned on being there for a year anyway. So I was really trying to stick it out that year because I had taken the job after I had gotten laid off. So I was like, let me just go ahead and take something for a year so that there's not a major, you know, gap on my resume or anything like that. And at that point I was like, you know what? I need to get out of here before I do something that is just not within my character. So like that weekend, like I think that whole incident went down on like a Wednesday. That weekend I hopped on Indeed and I had already started applying to jobs. My resume was already updated because I updated it as soon as I accepted the position. Always got to keep your resume updated, always, because you never know when you might have to bust up out of a jam. So I had started looking on jobs on Indeed, and lo and behold, I actually came across my job description and I said, this looks really familiar. But the company's name was like anonymous or not listed, where they don't have to list like their company name or whatever. And I pulled up the job description from my job, because I always keep those because I use them when I, update my resume. I use it to kind of riff off of. And it was like word for word exactly the same. And I was like, hold up, are these motherfuckers about to fire me? And so I was just so thrown, because I'm like, y'all were seriously trying to get rid of me when I was not the problem here? That's wild. It's crazy. So I go into the office on Monday. I go to my boss's office. I walk right into his office, because at this point I'm heated. Because it's like, what have I done to deserve this but put up with all of this BS here, right? And I slammed the job posting down on his desk, and I was like, what is this? I was like, this is my job description, is it not? And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, you weren't supposed to find out this way. And I said, so what's up? Like, straight like that. I said it just like that. I'm pretty sure he was like, what in the urban dictionary is this? What does this mean? And I was like, so what's up? What's good, basically. And he was like, so and so hasn't necessarily been happy with your performance, and the error on the brochure was, the final straw for him, or yada 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 yada. And I'm thinking to myself, this is some bullshit. Like, y'all sitting here about to fire me over something that technically wasn't my fault, because not only did I look at it, but you looked at it too. So how am I going down for this when 2 other people should have also caught this as well? And furthermore, the way he just talked to me the other day, I could technically file a lawsuit. Like, y'all do know this, right? Long story short, before I even get to that part, he did also ask me why I was on Indeed. He was like, well, why were you on Indeed? And I lied. I was like, I wasn't on Indeed, but I do still get the alerts. And this position popped up, in my email as a job that was recommended for me. And it just looked really familiar to me. And so, I compared the two, and it's exactly the same. And he was like, oh, I should have just been honest, but whatever. So long story short, they ended up deciding that I wasn't a good fit for the company and decided to let me go. But because I had caught them, or I had caught it before it was actually like an official termination, what they did was they actually just processed it as a layoff. So I was actually able to get a severance and not have it classified as like getting fired, because my boss was trying to like soften the blow. So his boss, the one who went off on me, wanted me fired. But my boss, actually, he was a nice guy. He was actually on my side. He said it. He was like, I like you. You have brought a lot of great ideas. You've done a lot for this company, but I just don't think this is the place for you. I don't think our team is at a place to really embrace your ideas and the things that you really want to do and the things that would really make this successful. And it was a hard pill to swallow, but I feel like I had kind of been feeling that the whole time. What also made it a little bit awkward too was like, there was no people of color in this office. Like, I know people of color now is like a blanket term. So people of color now means like, Latina, Latino, Mexican, black, Pakistani, and it's all of that. But I was not just the only black person, but the only person of color, period. Which almost made me feel like it may have been some racial issues in there. Like, that head team manager that was giving me all that issues, now, in today's time, I can classify her as a Karen. But these are terms that we're just now starting to kind of develop and establish and starting to call out. When this happened, we were way, before all of that. But in hindsight, yeah, that was a Karen. Okay, she was a whole Karen who didn't want me to shine, who didn't want me to outshine her. And I think that collectively it was just all bad. And I hate to bring race into stuff, but in the back of my head, I do strongly believe that did play a part in that position, because I can't think of anything else that would have really been a reason why things played out the way that it did, and why people were able to treat me a certain way, why no one stuck up for me, why no one was reprimanded for talking to me or treating me a certain way, or doing things or not doing things to support me. It was a whole thing. But yeah, in the story, I did get a nice severance that tided me over for about 2 to 3 months. So I guess you can say I was laid off twice back to back, but was able to land on my feet. After my severance ran out, I really took my time to make sure that the next job that I took was good. And I'm happy that it was. I ended up staying in that position for quite some time. And it ultimately led me to my current position, which I opened up on my channel about me landing my dream job. So in the end, it did work out in my favor. But I guess what are some things I would want you to take away from this story is, number one, without a doubt, do not ignore those red flags. Like, if something in your gut is telling you that this position is off or something seems off, listen to it right away. Like absolutely listen to your spirit, listen to your inner gut. If it's telling you that, yo, this vibe is off in this place, or I'm not getting good vibes here, or these people don't seem nice, or the bound or the KPIs or the performance metrics seem unrealistic, so I don't think I can do it. Like, listen to whatever that voice is. Please listen to it, because had I listened to it and paid attention to it, I probably would have left at the end of that very first month after I realized that they didn't have a seat for me. Number two, I would say, is don't tolerate disrespect. Like, don't tolerate nobody disrespecting you in the workplace. The me now would have never just taken that. I would have absolutely popped off back, and we would have been shouting at each other. But I think I was just so taken aback, and I was young, and I had never experienced anything like that before in my career. And I was entry level, so oftentimes with entry level, you feel like you have to take that kind of disrespect and take that kind of treatment in order to progress. I wish I knew then what I know now, which is that you don't have to deal with disrespect and being degraded or berated in any job for any reason for a paycheck. I will never let no like that fly again, period. Like, I feel like if I ever ran into him, it would be on site. I would just go off, because he had no right to talk to me like that and treat me that way. And number three, if you do take a job that is giving you those warning signs in the very early stages, I would say keep applying. And that's something that I still do to this day. Like, even after I accept a position, I'm still applying and interviewing for jobs for the next 30 days, because I don't know how this is going to work out. And I actually might do a video on that, because I do feel like it's something that needs to be talked about and something that needs to be mentioned. Like, in your first 30 to 90 days, in the same way that they have you on a bit of a probationary period, have them on a probationary period too, okay? Judge or pay attention or analyze the way that they treat you, the way that the team members treat you, the way your interactions are with your boss, the values and the morals and the mission, and if what they say on their website is actually aligning in real life with the things that they do and with the things that they do and the actions of the team and all of that. Pay attention to that stuff. And while that experience did suck, it, number one, gave me content, right? Because I have this video, and even from this video, as I talk through this story, I've thought of some videos and some topics that I can record for the month of March for you guys. But I think it's made me so much wiser in my career, definitely, for sure. So that is my story, and I would be curious to know if anything like this has happened to you. Any point of this story, have you ever encountered a team member who just wanted you to fail, who was just gunning for you to fail, who did not like you for whatever reason? Have you ever been berated by a boss or by a higher up or a superior that absolutely made you feel like crap, and you wish that you did something about it back then, but you realize now that maybe it was for the best, or you realize now that you're never going to deal with that again? Or any career story that you have. I would love to hear that in the comments down below. If you like this video, if you like this career story, go ahead and give me a like. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button down below. And if you would like more career content from me, feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. My profile name is Mika Thompson. I do have an Instagram handle as well. well. My name on there is @_Mika Thompson, and I do have an email list that you can subscribe to. The link is in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time with another video.